the last section of Chapter 8 is very, very similar to what we did yesterday. Yesterday we looked at how much like pie crust would you eat in terms of length. Today we're going to look at the area of a sector. Okay, if a full circle is 360, we can find the area of the full circle. What's our area formula for a full circle? Pi r squared. So that's one of our formulas we have to memorize. So today we're going to look at, okay, how can I figure out if I just eat this much of my pizza? How much pizza did I actually eat? So it's called area of a sector because it's a sector of the full circle. So the proportion ends up being kind of the same. The left side changes. So this is the last formula you need to memorize for an extra week. Okay, but the right side stays the same. Okay, the right side's going to stay your arc measure over 360. The left side just becomes area of the sector over the area of the whole circle. So it's still part over whole. The only difference between yesterday and today is today we're using the area formula here. Yesterday we used the circumference formula. Okay, so they're basically the same. We're just finding different things. We can kind of do everything we did yesterday. I can also give you the area of a sector, have you find the area of the whole circle. I could have you solve for arc measure. So we can solve for any of the three parts of this proportion. So let's look at A. We want to find the area of this sector. Okay, so set up your proportion. So area of our sector here is going to be X. Area of the whole circle will be pi 5 squared equals 63 over 360. So we're going to do the same process we did yesterday. I'm going to go ahead and put pi times 5 squared in my calculator and get a number. $78.54. So it's X over 78.54 equals 63 over 360. So that's why you really have to know what the question's asking. But if you see it's shaded, it's usually asking for the area of the sector. If it's not shaded, it's usually asking for the arc length. So then cross multiply 360x equals 4948. It's weird, it comes out like a whole number. And then divide by 360. 13.74. Now here's the tricky part. We're dealing with area. So if this was like 5 inches, what would be our units? Inches squared. Okay, remember whenever you're dealing with unit or area, it's always whatever squared. Think of square feet. Questions? Not bad. Just like yesterday. Okay, B, same thing. We want to find the area of the shaded region. So I'm going to take X over area of the circle, pi 9 squared, equals 106 over 360. So I'm going to do pi times 9 squared first. So X over 254.47 equals 106 over 360. Then you cross multiply. Ooh, big number. 26,973.82. Divide by 360. 74.93 inches squared. Oh, it's feet. Thank you. I just looked at my answer case over. So those are the easy ones where it's like straight up just tell me the area of the sector. The next two, we're going to solve for other parts of my proportion. Okay, so on the test on Thursday, you might not always have to just solve for area of the sector. Okay. So here, we're trying to find the area of the whole circle. This A that they give you is the area of the shaded region. Same thing with over here. This is the area of the shaded region. The given area is for the shaded region. So we're still going to set up our proportion. This is going to go on top. 36.07. Instead of writing in pi r squared, I'm just going to put capital A because we're trying to find the area of the whole circle. A equals 58 over 360. So this one's not too bad because we're solving for the whole area of the whole circle. Cross multiply. 58A $12985.2. Then divide by 58. 223.88 centimeters squared. So that's the area of the whole circle if you're given the area of just one shaded region. Now, if this was like, a quarter or something like 60 degrees, we could take this whole thing and multiply it by 6 or something. But that's just too easy. So that's why we give you a weird number. Okay, questions on that? B is I would say one of the hardest. B says we want to find the diameter of circle N. So it's actually 3 steps. First thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to find the area of circle M, like we did in part A. And that's going to be our first step. Because in order to get to the diameter, I have to know what? The radius. So the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the radius. Because once I have the area of the whole circle, I can make it equal to pi r squared. Solve for radius. We did that in the first quiz. Then what's the relationship between radius and diameter? Radius is half the diameter, right? So once I find the radius, I can take r times 2, and that'll give me the diameter. So 3 steps. So I don't think this is necessarily the hardest, it's just the longest. Now notice, also in the picture, 72.39 is the area of the shaded region. 109 degrees is the angle of the non-shaded region. We need this angle in order to start our proportion. How can I figure out this angle? Subtract it from 360. I just threw everything at you all in one problem. So 360 minus 109 gives me 251. So sometimes in the homework, they may not give you the right angle. Just subtract from 360. They give you the angle of the non-shaded region. Okay, so let's try our first step. We got to find the area of the whole circle. So 72.39, I'm going to say capital A, 251 over 360. Cross multiply. So 251A equals well 26060.4. Then I'm going to divide by 251. So our area is 103.83 feet squared. So that's step one. If I was just asking for the area of the whole circle, I'd stop there. Now we got to find the radius. So we got to do what we did in the first quiz. Draw a line. I'm going to make 103.83 equal to pi r squared. How can I solve for r? What should I do first? Divide by pi. .05 equals r squared. A lot of you on that first quiz stopped here. But that's r squared, so what do I got to do? Square root. So square root of 33.05. 5.75. So now I have the radius. To find the diameter, I just got to double it. So 11.5. I'm pretty sure on your test, there's a problem just like this. Your test is 65 points. That was it. Oh, and make you stop at finding the radius. But this question on your test is worth 5 points. Okay. Oh, we didn't put units. Feet. So 65 points. What ends up happening, what a lot of people end up doing, is they make this equal to pi r squared, and they don't do a proportion at all. Remember, if I give you something, it's usually the area of the shaded region. Okay, questions? Example 3 is putting everything together that we've done over the last 2 days. Okay. So, it gives you some information ahead of time. The area of circle R is 295.52. The area of the sector PRQ, so the area of this shaded, is 55 inches squared. So A says to find the radius of the circle. I have two options. Well, I don't need to use this. because then I would have to set up a proportion, right? But we already know the area of the whole circle. If I want to find the radius and I already know the area of the whole circle, I can just make that area equal to pi r squared. If I had just given you the area of the sector, we would have to go through that same process that we did in B up here. We'd have to find the area, then make it equal to pi r squared. But I gave you the area. So divide by pi. $94.07. And then take the square root. $9.7. Really, this is a review of the whole chapter, kind of. B says find the circumference. So we have the radius. What's our circumference formula? I can just plug it in. It's 2 pi times 9.7. $60.95. Now let's do units. This is inches. This is inches. Remember, circumference, the units are the same. Okay, for C, it says find the measure of arc PQ. Remember, when I ask for measure, that means find the degree. So we either have to use this one that we learned yesterday. We know the circumference, but we don't know the arc length. Or we got to use the proportion we learned today. Do we know both the area of a sector and the area of the whole circle? So let's use the one that we learned today. So we're going to use the area of the sector over the whole circle. 1. Okay, otherwise we'd have to use the other one, but we don't know the arc length. That's what we're going to find in D. So we know the area of the sector is 55 over 295.52 equals x over 360. $295.52x equals 19800. Divide 67. Now we can do D, find the length of the arc, because we know it's arc over circumference equals the degree over 360, and we just found the degree measure. And B, we found the circumference. So we're going to take our answers from B and C to help us find the arc length. Does that make sense? This is like your homework. So it'd be x over 60.95 equals 67 over 360. So so I just used the stuff I already had in the problem. $4083.65. Then divide. $11.34 inches. Okay, questions? I'm going to write the other formula on the board.